Most people believe they're free, but they're not. They smile, they stay silent, they play the part. Yet behind those masks lives a storm. A war between who they are and who they pretend to be. This is the shadow, the hidden self that lives beneath the surface, shaping every thought, every fear, every choice. Carl Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will rule your life, and you will call it fate." This journey is about facing that truth. You see, from the very beginning, we were taught to perform, to be likable, responsible, agreeable, to be good. But in trying to survive, we built a character, a mask. We confused performance with identity. Maybe you became the peacemaker in chaos, the achiever chasing worth, the invisible one who disappeared just to feel safe. And now, as an adult, those old roles have become cages, comfortable, familiar, but suffocating. You're not broken. You're just tired. Tired of pretending. The shadow holds everything we were told not to be. Anger, jealousy, fear, neediness. All the parts of you that were rejected, they didn't vanish. They just went underground. They show up in strange ways, in the resentment behind your smile, the loneliness in your independence, the quiet rage hiding behind your kindness. The shadow isn't evil. It's the self you abandoned, waiting to be seen. Real enlightenment isn't light and love. It's integration. It's shining awareness into the darkness you've been taught to fear. Every pattern, every trigger, every act of self-sabotage is a clue. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you refuse to face. The unavailable partner, the familiar failure, the endless overgiving. They're all echoes of old wounds replaying themselves. These patterns aren't flaws. They're survival codes written in pain. And freedom? It's terrifying. Because when all you've ever known is the cage, peace feels unsafe. But that cage, those roles, those rules, those identities, they are the very things suffocating your soul. And then comes the hardest part, transformation. It's not pretty. It's not a motivational quote. It's not morning routines or self-help mantras. It's grief. It's the feeling of falling apart. It's looking in the mirror and whispering, "I've been running from myself, and I'm tired." Healing isn't light, it's fire. It burns away everything false. And in that burning, you finally see what's real. Jung said, "There is no coming to consciousness without pain, and through that pain, you realize you were never broken. You were just buried beneath who you thought you had to be." Then comes the quiet rebirth, the rediscovery. The real you, the one who felt too much, dreamed too big, loved too deeply, was never weak. It hid because it learned that being authentic was dangerous. So you amputated your truth to feel safe. But the buried self still waits. And when you finally turn inward, you'll find it, patient, unbroken,
untouched by time. To reclaim it means digging through the wreckage, facing the rage, the shame, the forgotten dreams. It means being the villain in someone else's story so you can finally be the hero in your own. Yes, it hurts, but the pain of being real is lighter than the pain of pretending.
And when the masks finally fall away, you see the truth that was always there. You were never meant to be perfect. You were meant to be whole. You've spent your life trying to fix yourself, but you were never broken. You were just lost beneath layers of shame and survival. Freedom doesn't mean becoming better. It means becoming honest. Because deep down, you already know what's keeping you stuck. You already know what you've been avoiding. You already know who you were before the world told you who to be. So the question is, will you finally choose you? Jung once wrote, "Who looks outside dreams. Who looks inside awakens." This isn't about chasing a better life. It's about awakening to the truth within you. When you face what you've been running from, you don't just find peace. You find yourself. And that is where real freedom begins. When you begin to face your shadow, the world around you starts to shift. Not because it changes, but because you do. The same places, the same people, the same memories, they no longer hold the same power. You begin to see the invisible threads, how every argument, every heartbreak, every disappointment was really a mirror, reflecting back the parts of you that wanted to be seen. And when you stop running, you start remembering. You remember the dreams you buried under practicality. You remember the voice you silenced to keep the peace. You remember the wildness that was punished, the softness that was shamed, the truth that was too heavy for others to hear. This remembrance is not weakness, it's resurrection. You see, every human being carries two births. The first, the physical one. The second, the spiritual one. The moment you stop living by habit and start living by awareness. And that second birth, it begins when you look into the mirror and whisper, "No more masks. No more pretending. No more waiting for permission to exist." That's when the soul exhales. That's when the cage begins to dissolve. That's when you realize every wound was never your punishment. It was your pathway home. Because the truth is, you cannot heal what you refuse to feel. You cannot awaken if you keep numbing yourself with distractions, approval, and noise. And you cannot become whole by cutting away your darkness. You become whole by embracing it. The shadow you fear most isn't your enemy. It's your lost child, knocking on the door of your heart, asking to come home. So let it in. Hold it. Speak to it. And for the first time, instead of trying to fix yourself, listen. When you do, something miraculous happens. You stop chasing love, and you become it. You stop searching for peace, and you embody it. You stop trying to be someone. and finally remember who you are. The world outside may still be chaotic, but inside, there's stillness. A quiet knowing that says, I am here. I am real. I am enough. That's not ego. That's presence. That's what happens when the shadow and the self finally meet. So maybe this isn't about becoming enlightened. Maybe it's about becoming human. Raw, imperfect, real. Maybe awakening isn't a mountain to climb, but a remembering of the place within you that was never lost. And maybe freedom isn't about escaping your darkness, but learning to walk through it with open eyes, steady breath, and an open heart. Because the light you seek was never above you. It was never in the sky. It was inside you, waiting to be seen the moment you turned inward. So when you look in the mirror tonight and you see the tired eyes staring back at you, know this: that reflection is not your failure. It's your becoming. The pain was never the ending. It was the invitation. An invitation to meet yourself, to hold yourself, to finally say, I am ready to come home. Because who looks outside dreams, but who looks inside awakens.